Hey everyone, today we're back, Men's Couch, Season 3. Today we're here to talk about FOMO. Here with me today, me, I'm Micah, I'm speaking, but here with me today is...
Alex.
It's me, Maha.
Sam.
Chloe.
And Nathan.
And we're the Men's Couch, woo! So today we're going to talk about FOMO. I kind of elaborate a little bit on it. So FOMO is... The acronym FOMO is fear of missing out, and we're going to talk about how does fear of missing out, how does that relate to us? Where does FOMO come from, and how do we deal with FOMO? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think about FOMO, Micah?
For me, I've always struggled with FOMO. It really picked up in high school when I would kind of binge on TikTok for hours. I would just feel like I'm missing out on a social aspect of life that I don't have. Maybe I'm missing out. It's the perception that everyone is sort of hanging out without you, or you're missing some aspect of yourself that everyone else has. And I feel like I kind of felt very empty when I would scroll through videos on TikTok and kind of feel like I don't have that friend group or anything. So that's kind of how FOMO relates to me. Now FOMO, I don't really have it as much because I feel more secure in myself, and but it does come in waves, I will say. It's just not as much as it used to.
That was in high school, right?
Yeah.
When you felt that, did that ever make you want to reach out to people more, or did it do the opposite when you had FOMO?
It didn't make me want to reach out at all.
So it's
I didn't really have
It was counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
That having that fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Usually it would make you want to reach out, right? But no, it just, especially for me too, I feel
It didn't give me any motivation to reach out.
No, it pushed me even further out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the wash is coming in.
His aura fills the room.
Chloe?
So, for me in high school, I had a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it's also why I did so much in high school.
Yeah.
I did cheerleading, track, marching band, Model UN, FBLA, junior city council. I did a lot of stuff. So I was always doing things, and just because I had that fear to miss out on doing things, so I always wanted to try new things because I felt like I wouldn't fit in if I didn't do things. So
That's a lot of things to do. What was that, 5?
I did way more than that, actually. I just didn't feel like listing them all because
Yeah. I mean, my FOMO was just basically around how I didn't I felt like I was missing some sort of something about me that I wasn't able to fit in, and I was afraid. Well, everyone is doing something fun without me, and I'm just missing it because I can't measure up to their that social culture. So I'm kind of on the outside. I don't know if you ever watched the movie Outsiders. It's kind of what I felt like for most of my life. It's kind of on the fringes of social, the social aspects of high school.
I kind of felt the same. I wasn't really involved in much in high school. I just kind of hung out with some friends
Yeah.
most of the time. And I didn't really care that much. I just kind of did my thing. But I definitely probably felt a lot of FOMO at the time, looking back at it. I was probably missing out on a lot. And I mean, it worries me a lot. That's why I'm trying to get more involved here in college.
Okay.
FOMO can be caused by unmet social needs, and oftentimes when you have FOMO, you're not able to be as present in the current moment that you're in right now. Lots of times you don't get as much satisfaction in some of the things that you typically would find very satisfying and very enjoyable, and it takes away from that, kind of sucks the joy out of what you're doing in the current moment because you're always comparing yourself and you want to be in 1,000 places at once.
Do you feel like you always need to be a part of something? well, at least for me, like for a while, so I feel like I needed to be a part of this because I wasn't there, and it's kind of like you said, it's like everyone is kind of enjoying themselves without me, and you're not able to enjoy what you have in front of you because you always feel like you need to be like everywhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
FOMO's a lot different in this era too that we grow up in, compared to 80s, 90s, because when you would not be invited to something like, say, a party or a gathering or a club, you sometimes wouldn't even know about it. It wouldn't even be on your radar. But in this day and age with social media, everything's cycling through. Everyone's only gonna be posting the highlights. Your feed is going to be catered to show you things that people are doing that are gonna make you feel FOMO.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are susceptible to that because when you scroll and you see everyone's best, you feel like, oh, my best is not as fun as what they're doing.
Yeah, if you see that on online, you can see like maybe your friends did something and you weren't a part of that, and then you'll feel FOMO because you weren't a part of what they were doing, and it can, I think it can even cause like anger sometimes, like, okay, why am I not a part of this, you know?
Even if you were invited sometimes too, and you
Yeah.
declined, and then you see the photos, you're like, oh wow, that looked like a ton of fun.
Or regret,
I
like,
promise
wish I
you,
could.
majority of the times, the photos and what you're seeing is not as fun as the actual event was.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people are making their lives seem more fun than what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you still shouldn't reach out, and you shouldn't be motivated by FOMO to get out there and to make memories, because FOMO, well, it's a bad thought process. Sometimes the results can be good. I think we all need to get out of our shell a little bit, and sometimes FOMO causes that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying, I think like in those pictures, people also just like naturally fake their smiles, like in most of social media, right? Everyone's always smiling in a picture. I think you were saying that highlight reels of everyone's life.
Yeah.
Which is
Everyone's life is boring.
yeah, it's really,
Everyone's
it's a
life
great
is
point.
boring. So,
Yeah.
Wait, why did you say that?
everyone just has boring lives pretty much, and then, I mean, once you do something fun, they make it seem way better than it is.
I agree with that. Yeah. And then like it's supposed to be like, it's not a bad thing to have like not really boring, but just like just a stable life, you know. You're not partying every day.
Yeah, I think everyone has, like, I think we need to look at our lives as our lives are enough. They're not like boring. It's just like, because I feel like maybe FOMO can sometimes stem from a lack of you feeling like there's nothing enough within your own life, so you feel like you need to have something, like be a part of something because you don't feel like your life is enough. And I feel like this is another factor of FOMO, is feeling that your own life is, you're comparing your life to others, that you perceive your life as fun, but your life, it doesn't reflect that, so that means like you're boring. And I think we kind of need to change our definition of like what constitutes as like, okay, this isn't boring, it's just this is my life, and this is how I like to live my life. Like, for example, for me, you'll never see me at a party ever. If you do, yeah, you'll never see me at a party. You'll never see Micah at a party.
Yeah.
But some people, they are the life of the party. They like to go out like on Friday night. But for me, that's why I have game nights, is because like I don't like parties. I just like to hang out with people that I know. But
Me too.
Yeah,
you
very
can,
same.
I guess it's like,
It's like it's actually pretty common to not be a party person. I think.
yeah. Because I feel like when you look at those pictures, you feel like you're the only one that is like, I'm not the life of the party. Then I have to feel bad about like my personality. There's nothing wrong with your personality. It's just maybe like what is presented in social media as like the norm. If you see that so much, then you feel like if you don't like meet other people that are also like not the life of the party, then you'll feel like you're like left out and alone. If that makes sense.
I think it can work inversely too. I'm not saying that I am a huge partier or even an extrovert, But occasionally I'll go out on a weekend, and sometimes if I'm at a party or I'm in a big group of loud music, I'm like, I'd rather just be in my bed right now. I'd rather just be watching football or doing something calm with my friends, maybe cards or something. So it kind of works both ways. Sometimes you're not at the party and you wish you were at the party, and other times you're at the party and you wish you were just calm.
I think the party itself, we wish maybe it's not necessarily like the party, but being a part of a group of people.
It's a feeling of community.
Community. I think that's
what
it
you're
is.
going for. But community can be gained in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Where, in fact, I think that's what makes community so special, is community is bonding over something that you all share together.
Mm-hmm.
So for some people, that's going out. For other people, I'm sure they look at that game night as a community.
Yeah.
And that's a really special thing and something that they can look forward to every week.
Yeah.
Something they can take solace in.
Yeah.
Cause you saying you just started coming to game nights.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely a lot of fun, and I feel like a good way to get people together that aren't necessarily, like we were saying, party goers and whatnot. And it's more appealing for, I don't want to necessarily say introverted, but more leaning in that direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say
It's like for everyone, fun for everyone.
Yeah, because not everyone likes to do that.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I classify myself as an ambivert, so I'm like both. But it kind of just depends on the day for me. Like if I have a fairly busy day socially, then I want to be more introverted.
Yeah.
But if I have more of a laid back day, then I like to be around a lot of people and barely put myself out there.
So why do we enjoy the game nights in particular?
It's just fun.
Okay.
Most of the games that we do play are social games.
Okay.
So even if you're an introvert, like, you still get that, I guess, that flavor of being
Yeah,
being
social.
an extrovert.
Yeah.
Like playing Werewolf. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's involving the whole group as a whole. You know?
So, and that's another reason why I did that, and just like a whole thing, is because instead of just like maybe like feeling bad about like, oh my gosh, I don't have like, I'm not the life of the party. That means like I can't like have fun on the weekends. You kind of like you make the party, and quote unquote, you make it so that you make the community. You don't like just and that you don't have to listen to the FOMO that's saying that you're not enough and how you are and how you live your life. You make things work for your own life. And I think the problem with FOMO is that we're not tapped into how we're wired. We're wired differently, and we need to just listen to how we are wired instead of just trying to seek something that we see maybe like on social media, or I think looking back on my TikTok phase in high school, I would say that I didn't feel good about seeing people and their friends on TikTok. These are like strangers. Like I don't know these people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't feel good about that because I felt a lack within myself of why can't my life be like their life? And it's kind of like, well, and my journey is after I stopped TikTok, I was able to tap into myself and work with how does Micah socialize? How do I like to build community and stuff like that? And that's how I overcame my FOMO, is just working and accepting with like how I'm made. I have another situation, but I want to ask like what is like your experience of FOMO?
Personally, I haven't had very much experience with FOMO, but there have been times, of course, where like if my groups of friends are doing something and say I don't get invited and I'm like left out of that definitely leaves a bit of an impact on me, because I don't know, it definitely hurts a bit knowing that I'm being left out of something, because it's okay, they intentionally didn't invite me to this, and then I'm like, am I like a bummer or whatever? And it kind of leads to a bit of a spiral. And that can definitely cause a little bit of like, oh, I really like want to be there, or what if they're doing something super fun, or I'm missing out on this or that. So there's definitely some experience I do have with it still, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I do have one. It might be a little sad, but
Okay.
so I had a group of friends in high school, and in the summer, we would go mini golfing. So one time, I guess one of my main friends was like the life of the party, and he had work one day.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's say Micah. Micah, the life of the party.
Not actually, but like.
Okay.
She's just using me as an example.
Yeah, Micah's the example here. But so he was working that day, and we couldn't make it to our plan. So we just the group as a whole canceled, and we just rescheduled our hangout to another day, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then on a different occasion, I was the one that couldn't make it to the hangout, and they went mini golfing anyway without me. They just told me like, hey, we're just gonna go without you.
Yeah.
You can go to the next one. And I think that just like, to me, I had a big moment of like FOMO, but also just I didn't feel like I was important.
Yeah, like you maybe felt like less significant or like rejected.
It's like I wasn't as important to the group.
Yeah.
And that like, that's a big thing that ties in with FOMO is that like self-respect you have for yourself, it diminishes.
Yeah.
If you truly have a strong group of friends who you can rely on and who you all have each other's backs, then you're not going to experience FOMO too much. And if you're experiencing FOMO on a regular basis, then I think it's time to look in the mirror and evaluate who your friends are and who you spend time with, and maybe these relationships aren't as significant as you think. And
okay.
Yeah, they were not.
whenever I'm hanging out with my friends and I get a little twinge of FOMO because maybe, they went golfing, I realize the actual motive is, well, you can't golf, Sam. Of course they're not going to invite you to go golfing.
Yeah.
Oh, they went to a country music festival. You don't like country music.
Yeah.
Like, why are you having FOMO about this? You weren't going to have fun anyways. There's a reason why you didn't invite me. And then later that week, they're going to invite me to poker because I like poker, or to watch sports, and that's more up my alley. So if you have true friends, they're never going to intentionally exclude you. They're always going to have your best interests at heart, and FOMO should be limited, but still okay to feel those feelings.
Yeah, I think it's.
And whenever I have those feelings of FOMO, I always just try to do something productive. Because even if I'm not having as much fun as I could have been having, I still got my laundry done, or I did schoolwork. I caught up, and I turned a negative into a positive, and that's a good way to stack days.
Yeah.
And just have a good outlook on it. I think we all experienced fear of missing out in the most extreme sense with COVID and the pandemic.
Yes.
It definitely morphed during COVID.
Exactly.
We were all home alone, and we had lots of time to reflect.
Yes.
And I think that was really big for a lot of people socially. So
It
I'd be very
was.
interested to see how everyone's relationship was with COVID and FOMO.
Oh, my Lord. That's like.
You guys
Okay.
I mean,
Wait. You're.
For me, okay. Well, I mean, for COVID, definitely exposed a lot of friends that I had. They stopped talking to me pretty much.
Wow.
So yeah, after that, pretty much like I missed out. I mean, there wasn't much to miss out on. I just played video games in my room like all of COVID. So yeah, I felt like I was missing out, but there wasn't anything really going on. So
Yeah. I had the same thing, honestly.
yeah, that's my whole experience.
Like, I lost like basically
Yeah, like all the friend group,
all
like
my friends.
yeah, all my friends, bro. It
Do
was
you have
horrible.
yeah.
It was like
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
reset.
For me, COVID didn't really do that much because I only spent most of my time online, so I really had like a lot of online friends.
Okay.
And we just usually chatted, played Among Us when it was popular, some Minecraft because why not?
Real.
Yeah.
And just had chaos and just had fun talking to each other. Chaos in Discord, woohoo! Yeah, definitely was not on one of the Discord servers that released tank information from the FBI. What? No.
That's like the watch this thing.
Yeah.
Chaos.
It is.
Go, Chloe.
So
Sorry.
during COVID, I didn't have like a lot of my sports that I did. Like my cheerleading, my sophomore year we didn't have it because of the limited restrictions on the amount of people that could be in the gymnasium. And so I really fell into my music more. Because I did districts for band, and I would sit at home for hours on end just playing my bass clarinet, because I had nothing else to do besides read, because I love to read. So I would also read for like 5 hours at a time in one sitting because I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
But I think that also like gave me a lot of self-reflection on myself. And then I kind of fell back on like what I wanted to do for my life, and then like not worried about doing all the activities that I did. So I kind of limited my activities that I did into my junior, senior year. But I think that really like helped me grow as a musician, but also as like a person, and really helped me self-reflect on myself, because when COVID hit, I had a lot of my self-esteem was really low, and I had like not a lot of self-respect for myself at that point in time. So I think that helped me get more in touch with myself and my personality and stuff like that.
Okay. For me, when that happened, so I was in high school, and the story goes that I was not very. I was just not like I kind of didn't like know myself during high school. So like when COVID happened, I kind of like. I guess at first I felt more deeper into like the perception of I don't belong anywhere or anything. So I kind of I would say COVID, I feel like there's two sides of the coin. COVID helped me become more comfortable being myself, but it also kind of made me feel more just by myself in a way, because I had like the perception that everyone was just out without me, but that was before I deleted social media, because I remember I deleted social media. I think it was like a couple months after the pandemic started. So I don't know. I feel like those when I still had social media, things were not great.
Do you still not use social media, or?
Well, I don't know. Like, if you consider YouTube social media, I use YouTube, but like other than that, I don't have social media.
How do you feel about that now? Like,
how I feel about it?
Do you get FOMO like recently, or no?
No.
You don't feel it?
Because like you can't. I feel like you can't have FOMO if you don't know what's going on.
Michael
That
lives
makes
in the
sense.
real world.
Yeah, he lives in the real world.
So like I feel like, and that's like the lifestyle that works for me. I'm not saying like, okay, everyone needs to delete social media. That's just like works for me. I just was never like, can never be on social media, because I don't like just knowing that like what someone else is doing. I feel like that can also trigger FOMO, because just knowing that these people are out without you, or just this person's doing this, that can trigger FOMO. And now that I don't have it, it's just I kind of don't really have FOMO, but I have FOMO in different ways than I did in the past. So last year I had a lot of FOMO because I was trying to join this group of people. We'll call it an organization. So I was trying to join an organization, and
Just say it's a frat.
So I was trying to join this organization. I'm not saying, well, not what I'm saying, but I was trying to join this organization, and I wasn't accepted. And at the time, I didn't realize that I was trying to join the organization out of FOMO, because I was joining it out of a fear of like, well, if I don't join this organization, then that means that I will be missing out on what I perceive to be the ideal of the organization. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all understand it? Or,
Yeah.
So it's like it's like what FOMO happens when we create a version of people or like things on social media in our minds as the ideal. We ideally think that something's going on, which really is not really what you perceive it to be as. And I fell into that my freshman year, and the advice I would give to myself is, please don't do something out of FOMO. Please just pay attention to yourself and don't because I feel like I was at that time I was willing to kind of morph into something that I wasn't to be a part of an organization or part of a group of people, and that was not going to work. And I'm glad that, because I tried to do it twice and that did not go very well. So, and now that I look back on it, I'm glad I didn't, because I would be doing it for the wrong reasons, because I would be afraid that because other people I knew were doing the organization, and I felt bad that I wasn't able to do it, so that created a fear of missing out. But I didn't realize that the organization didn't work for me. So I feel like FOMO is us not realizing that things are not for you, but just because it's not for you, that doesn't mean you're less than. If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
The Michael
Yeah.
we have now is the authentic.
Yeah, so it's I feel like with
Experience.
FOMO, we're sometimes called to ask, am I afraid of missing out because I created a version of something in my mind that's the ideal of this group of people or this party, and have I made it like Sam said, what you see isn't always what's happening, and have I made something out of something that it really isn't, or I think that's the kind of question where is the FOMO coming from? Why do you feel that way? And yeah, I think that's a healthy way to deal with FOMO. Is ask, why am I feeling this way? What is the story in my mind of why I'm feeling? You have to take a deep breath.
No, this position, it's hard to breathe. So
Yeah,
I should
so
probably
it's
sit
just. I think that's. What do you think?
up.
What do you think, guys?
I think you're definitely right.
I think you should, if you're feeling those things, you should take a little social media detox, get the mind right. That sounds like what you did. You definitely got your mind right.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't social media detox. It was social media ending.
Yeah.
I'm never
Cut it
back.
off.
You're never going
Take a
back.
step back.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think that social media is horrible. But
Yeah, I don't think it's horrible. It's just
Yeah.
not
I
for
think
me.
it's horrible for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
If you're using it for the right reasons, just to post pictures or have fun, that's one thing. But if you're
Mhm.
doing it to compare your life to other people, it's not a good path to go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think FOMO for me, when I had it really bad, it kind of contributed to my struggle with feeling empty and kind of depression kind of feelings. It's because when you're not happy with your life or you're not satisfied, then you kind of idealize other people's lives because you don't feel like it's enough. And I feel like that's kind of where the root of FOMO comes from, is we don't feel like our life is just enough as it is, and we can't appreciate our life.
I feel like, especially in college, I've definitely been feeling a lot of FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the major decisions I made that was influenced by the fear of missing out was the choice of living on campus.
Mm.
Because I don't need to live on campus. I'm just a 20-minute drive away from where I live.
Stay here.
Mike is telling me to stay.
Stay here.
But that was yeah. I mean, I can afford it, obviously, but that's a big decision, and my reasoning wasn't really the best. I just wanted to fit in, and I don't know. It's for me. I don't think it's the right reason to stay here. But I'm just trying to say that there's a lot of decisions in college that people make. Out
There
of FOMO,
is.
right?
There is. Can we just talk about so I'm gonna bring this subject up. Whether you drink or don't drink, this is not like it's not me like, it's not about the drinking or partying or whatever. Like sometimes I feel like some people might make a decision like I did that is not like aligned with who they are authentically. Like I made a decision I kept trying to join that organization. I made certain decisions, and it's like the same thing when someone goes and chooses to go to a party that when they know deep down that they wouldn't enjoy themselves, or they decide to go do certain activities like maybe drinking, or it doesn't have to be that, but there's maybe certain activities that they know deep within themselves they wouldn't enjoy, but they do it because they're afraid of missing out. And sometimes that, like, when that happens, that can have like harmful consequences when
You're trying to be someone you're not.
yeah, when you're trying to morph into this person that, like, kind of like we talked about that one episode, I don't know what episode it was, we talk about like morphing into like someone that you're not because of
Body dysmorphia. The thing that's
wait, okay, yeah. It was the flashback to the
So what I'm hearing, to sum up what you're saying, Micah, and Marm too, about your
It's
decision to live on a campus versus commute, and then your decision of potentially rushing a frat. Impulses, FOMO should not lead to impulses. When you're having FOMO,
right.
it's important to take a step back. I look at FOMO almost like a spiral.
Oh, yeah.
That fear of missing out, spirals only go one way. They just keep tightening. So you start at the pinnacle of the spiral, and it just keeps roping in and in, and it just keeps getting tighter. And that's sometimes the anxiety that we get with FOMO. We see a photo, and at first we might not even give it a glance. We might just scroll right by it or whatever. But then we scroll back, and we focus on it again and again and again. And that's what can lead to those impulses and destructive behaviors.
Yeah, I feel like that's when, and that's the same thing for me in high school as well. But more recently, it was just like, well, I was just doing that. Looking back, I was just doing that. That was not aligned with my identity and who I was. It was because I was afraid that it was just kind of like, fitting in and belonging.
Yeah.
FOMO touches on our need to belong and our need to fit into something. And I think when we kind of like you said, when I did that, it was because I was afraid of not belonging, and I didn't realize that wasn't the crowd for me. And I kept trying to go at it, and it was like fighting with myself, like, why is this not working? Or it's like when you have FOMO, it's like you're chasing something that you should not have, or is not for you, and it's a fear of the ideal of what you think you're missing, but you're not actually missing anything.
Yeah, I think going off top of that, as college students, especially as a freshman,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys felt this in your freshman year, but when you're first starting out and like you're on campus, you
Mhm.
feel FOMO the most because you don't have a support group. If you don't
Yeah, because
have
you're
friends with you,
new.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
Yeah.
definitely felt that a lot, actually, when I first went to college.
Season 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So literally missing any event, it made me feel horrible. Like, oh no, I could have made
Yeah.
potential relationships with people.
And
Yeah.
for me, it actually led down into a pretty bad spiral where I started just like avoiding a bunch of things and was not to the point where I just wasn't associated at all with anything with college. Like, I just wasn't putting in any effort to even try and get friends. Like, I had nobody at a certain point. Like, people that I knew and could have turned into friends, which obviously now I did, but at the time I wasn't trying to reach out or like make an effort to get that going because I was like so afraid almost. Like, yeah.
See, I always felt like I was like a school friend, not really like someone to hang out with or do stuff with.
Did you feel that you weren't cool enough to hang outside of school, or?
I don't know. To be honest, I wouldn't know. But it was just more of like that type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah,
Okay. I'm sorry, I keep saying
That like that school friend where
yeah.
like you're
you only see him in school.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
never see him outside of school. You never,
Mhm.
hang out. That's kind of how I felt for a lot. Definitely like middle school and stuff like that.
you're like only friends when you're forced to be in like a place with
in a
them.
context.
Like if you only see them in class and you're
Yeah.
like you're amazing, you're really friendly with them, but you won't do anything with them outside of class.
Bro, that sounds like one of my friends from high school. Like,
Yeah.
immediately once we graduated, he just left every friend group that we were like in together and just never texted any of us.
Did you ever see him again?
No.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Wow.
friends I knew in high school. They didn't have a phone or anything. Like, I was cool with them in high school. I had classes and stuff. We would always chop it up. But then, like, I don't know, they would always just do their own thing after school. It's like, I mean, I think they're cool, but I don't know. I'm never going to see those people again, it feels like.
They don't
So-
have a phone, but
So what I'm like kind of hearing is maybe FOMO is having to do with like sometimes it can come in like different life stages where we're moving into different life stage. You know, we're going to college, and we're kind of figuring out our identity. But like when things are happening around us, and we feel like we need to be a part of it, and we don't have the opportunity, or you just don't, then FOMO comes. But I think sometimes FOMO can like lead us, like we said earlier, to make decisions that maybe are not with our personality. So maybe we'll go to like a bunch of events. We'll go to like not. I'm gonna say so. When like hear me out. When I'm saying like we go to a bunch of events, that's good.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think like when we overdo it and when we like to the point where like if we miss an event for a week, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I miss
yeah,
an
like
event.
going to all the day one events. Like
Yes.
freshman month, I went to
Yeah,
every
that
single
was,
one
like-
and got burnt out. Like
Yeah, and that can be like socially exhausting. Like we're socially exhausting ourselves because of the fear of missing out. And I think we need to be like mindfully social, if that makes sense. Like we're having we're being social because we feel like, okay, I just want to connect, I want to find some people, but I don't need to do that as like a constant out of fear. Like I feel like doing it out of fear might lead to us
that's
not
just toxic, right?
yeah, like it might not lead to like
It's horrible.
we won't be able to break out of our shell if we're like so afraid. Because I feel like if we're going to events out of fear, then we won't be able to like show up like as who we are.
Because then you're not having fun talking.
Yeah,
to
you're
someone.
not having fun.
It's like an addiction you're trying to itch, you know? Like,
Yeah, it's like
I don't know.
it's that. It's like you're kind of yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I were to share one final thought and piggyback off of what Micah was saying, FOMO is rooted in transitions. When you get into new environments, that also comes with new expectations.
Yeah.
So for everyone on this panel, get ready. The next transition's coming in 3-4 years, whether you know it or not.
Oh yeah.
You're going to be in a new environment,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
with that is going to come a lot of new situations where it's very easy to develop the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So it's important to remember who you are as you transition, and don't change or adapt. It's great to go out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
but don't change who you are because of FOMO.
I think okay. So before we like close or before we like kind of do that, I think we can have FOMO like as adults. Like maybe we feel like we're afraid of missing out on some aspect of adulthood that we don't have. That
At any age. I
yeah, at
think.
any age, yeah.
Could be a mom, a grandma. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what are your final thoughts over there?
I think it's just a beast that you have to figure out how to handle yourself.
Yeah.
And just do a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
On is it something you really want to do, or are you just doing it because other people are doing it and the peer
Yeah.
pressure behind it?
Mm.
So.
Yeah, I kind of experiencing that tomorrow because I bought some concert tickets that all my friends are going to. So I'm just like, you know, I don't really even listen to the artists that heavy anymore. But you know, I'm still gonna go because, you know, I just want to have a good time pretty much, and I don't want them to have a good time without me. So
It's maybe FOMO is I don't want people to have a good time without me. Maybe that's like a
not
different.
exactly.
Maybe
Like,
well, that could be a definition of it.
but they kept telling me to go, so it's like, okay, I'll
Mhm.
come.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
I think FOMO wouldn't exist if you just, I guess, have a good sense of respect for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
if you viewed yourself as, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be there, I just don't think FOMO would be that much of a problem.
Yeah, and for me, FOMO, the way I kind of like am dealing with it is being content with my life and yeah, being content with like who I am and noticing like that what I have is enough, and I would not want it any other way. Like I would like speaking like of my own life, I would not want to be in that organization because I wouldn't like now it's just I'm so content, and doing things like this or like the game nights has like I'm just like content as like to do that. It's just I don't need to go to a party. Like that is my party, is to have that, because it's like you more. I feel like for me, I am more like I want to make like meaningful connections, and I want to like get to know you, and I feel like the game nights are a way to do that. I don't know if like you all would agree, but it has like for me,
100%.
because it's it started out as like 4 people and now it's like grown. So I'm glad that it's like I kind of use my fear of missing out and turned it into something good to like make for myself. And I think that's like maybe like if you're having like fear of missing out, maybe take advantage of that and use it like to do something that you like to do, or just to make something.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I don't have any other. Do you have any? You said your final words, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know who all.
What about the watch?
Did you say your final words?
What about the
Yeah,
watch?
I said my final words.
Did you?
Yeah, like a while ago.
You can say them again.
Nah, you can. You can, Mama. Say it.
You already said your final words.
Thank
right?
you for listening to the podcast.
Thank you for listening.
Men's Couch.
Men's Couch.
Let's go.
Men's Couch
Yep.
signing off.
Let's go.
All right, Men's Couch. Woo.